Hello and welcome to episode 121 of Ready to Mosh. I'm Jen G, and with me, as always, the Alice to my chain, Mr. Gav P.
Oh, more on brand. What's the word?
Topic?
Topic.
On topic, kind of.
Yeah.
You'll find out why at some point.
It makes sense later on. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
You're right.
Yes.
So this episode, we are doing a review of the last gig that we went to, which was Greg Puciato at Rescue Rooms in Nottingham on the 2nd of May. No, the 2nd of March. March. It's not May yet. The 2nd of March.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
It does. It was about
4 days ago.
4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah. Does seem a long time ago now.
It's one of those weird kind of in-out gigs, if you know what I mean. It was a Saturday, but we didn't make it a day thing.
Yeah, we just went. We just drove down for the gig, didn't we? And came back.
Yeah.
Quite a restrained evening for us.
It was actually. Don't know why. We just.
Yeah.
I think because we've got quite a few coming up, haven't we? We just thought, pace ourselves.
I think I only drank about 2 pints.
You did?
Which is good for me.
I didn't even drink anything.
You were driving, weren't you?
I know, but I didn't even have a soft drink, did I?
No.
So, let us begin. So I guess we should start from the beginning then.
Well, not quite the beginning,
Well,
but...
not quite. The beginning of time. The beginning of the event. A little bit further back from there, perhaps.
Yeah, about 15 minutes before that.
15 minutes before that. Anywho, this was at Rescue Rooms, as we've mentioned, and the way that we drove into Nottingham on Saturday meant that it was easy to park next door to Rock City. So we just checked beforehand who was at Rock City to see how busy the car park would be and if we could pre-book.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was now. I want to say Paper Pauper.
Something like that.
Something like that. Someone we've never heard of.
Yeah.
Quite possibly because we're old. Quite possibly because Rock City doesn't always rock these days.
Yeah, fucking dead true.
So anyway, we just thought it's someone we've not heard of. They obviously must be of a certain level to be playing Rock City.
Yeah, they've got to be able to sell, 800?
Yeah, at least. Well, yeah, it's 2,000 capacity, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the downstairs. You don't have to have the upstairs open.
Anyway, so that's what we assumed. And we pre-booked the car park and that was all fine.
Mm-hmm.
Top tip, if you do ever park there, do pre-book because you can just whiz in and out without any faffing with a bit of cardboard.
Yeah.
And the queue, as we pulled up to the car park, it was bigger than what I thought was the biggest queue I'd ever seen at Rock City for Velo last year. It was way up the street.
Yeah, I can't remember the biggest queue I've ever seen. Possibly Skindred?
Possibly Skindred or Frank Carter was quite big. Yeah. That was kind of round the corner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But this was like...
It was almost at the car park.
It was at the car park and then over the road and up the street further again, like it was for Velo, which you weren't with me for, so you didn't see that.
No.
Yeah, so we thought it's obviously a busy one there.
Yeah, it was fucking insane. I've never seen anything like that.
No, it was an interesting walk past.
Full of a load of townies and chaps.
It just brought back some trauma from, teenage year, walking past the cool kids when you're all a grubby little mosher, and you wouldn't have had emo yelled at me because that wasn't a thing when I was that age. But grab, mosh, weirdo, I'm sure you've all been there. It was a bit like that, wasn't it?
Mm.
Anywho.
Yeah, so then a little bit of a wait at the rescue rooms, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get in.
Yeah, again, we didn't know how busy this gig was going to be, did we? We thought it could be sold out.
Yeah.
Potentially. Or it could just not be busy at all. And it was...
No, I think it was just right.
Just right. But yeah, it was a little bit of a wait. So that was fine.
Yeah, hardly... I think there was about 3 people in front of us when we got there.
Yeah, 3, 4, thereabouts. Which
is how I like it, because it means I can get to the merch, I can get to the bar, and then take up my position.
Yeah. Now, we did overhear while we were queuing that someone, so I think it was someone who was working inside the venue, said only around 200 tickets had sold, which is about half the capacity of Rescue Rooms.
Mm. I feel like there was a bit more than that.
I think some people might have just turned up on the night, perhaps.
I think it was probably closer to maybe 300.
Yeah. I think it was, reasonably full by the end. Bearing in mind, one of our main, not issues as such, because it wasn't an issue, but you all know we like to stand on the balcony. Balcony was shut.
Yeah, that is irritating. I don't know why they do that, because they don't have to open the bar, but they have to open the upstairs for the toilets.
Yeah, although I've been before and I'm sure toilets have been shut. I'm sure when we saw Wednesday 13 and balcony was shut, we had to go through Rescue Rooms bar area for toilets.
That could have been the amount of people. There was hardly anybody there for that.
I suppose. Anyway, we did wonder when we heard it was only half sold that maybe the balcony would be shut. I
Sure
know
enough, it was.
it was. So, but we got a good spot nonetheless.
Yeah, there's a little raised area to the left and to the right of the stage, and we kind of went to the right hand side because there's generally a bit more. It's a bit wider. There's a bit more room, and you get a bit of a better view.
Yeah, and you've kind of got the bit of barrier where photographers go through to the pit and security are there, so people don't tend to go on that side as much as the other side.
Yeah, they generally head to the left, don't they?
Yeah, because you do have people like kind of going past you to and from the pit and stuff. So
Yeah,
anyway, as always, the first thing was to go and have a nose at the merch.
yeah. And the merch is a weird one. I kind of, in hindsight, I wish I'd have picked up the support bands merch because the designs were a lot cooler.
Yeah, I liked their merch,
Yeah. And the support band was Trace Amount,
which we'll talk about in a
which we'll
minute.
talk about soon. Yeah. But the design of Trace Amount's merch was amazing. And I wish I'd have picked one up now. But I'm a sucker for a tour date.
Did the Trace Amount ones not have?
No, there were no date. They were just one-sided prints. And the one I got was the Greg Puciato one, which I'm not overly fussed on the design on the front.
I know what you mean. It's a bit like my Bad Flower shirt, which I just felt obliged to buy it at the time, and it's not got tour dates on the back. And then in hindsight, I just maybe didn't need to buy it, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
And it's also the font that's used on the back.
Mm,
The font, it's just very blocky.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean, don't you?
I know what you mean, yeah.
We'll have to put the t-shirt up at some point.
Yeah, you're a font snob.
I'm a font snob, yeah. I like a nice font to my t-shirts. But what was interesting about the t-shirts as well is the brand.
Oh, yeah.
So the brand of t-shirt, it wasn't Gildan, wasn't Fruit of the Loom, anything like that. It was Greg Puciato's own label. So he does a lot of art stuff as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it's classed as like an art and music label.
Yeah.
Federal Prisoner, which, yeah, obviously does merch as well as music and other arty stuff.
And it's a Federal Prisoner t-shirt. And I suppose it's probably a good way of kind of making some extra money because you've not got that middleman to do everything.
I think, yeah, it'd be cost effective, won't it? One thing I did notice as well with Trace Amounts merch, they got a sign up saying it was either cash or PayPal only.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I've seen that before.
I wonder if it's a fees thing.
It could be a fees thing, yeah. I was thinking that because they normally have your little card machine there, don't they?
Yeah.
And obviously being quite a small act and coming over from the USA as well, potentially not set up for those kind of payments, maybe.
Yeah, I bet you as well, if you paid by PayPal, it would be as a personal, not as a business.
You'd have to do it as friends and family.
Friends and family and not as business, yeah.
Yeah, they'd probably tell you to do that if you were going to.
If you're going to buy it.
Pay. And obviously that's reliant on you having a signal in the building.
I don't think it's usually too bad in the rescue rooms unless there's a band on that's really big and it starts to sell out.
I was struggling between Trace Amount and Greg coming on. I was just trying to post a couple of stories from Trace Amount and they would not load at all. Yeah. But obviously we're right next door to Rock City and that could potentially lead to some of the signals. Given how busy that was.
Though.
Is that?
There's Wi-Fi at the rescue rooms, yeah.
Who knew?
Me.
Not me. Okay. I think I maybe did know that. And I think I've tried it before and it just didn't work.
Didn't like it. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, off on a tangent once again.
Yeah. So we got the merch, got a drink, took our position, and then it seemed forever, didn't it, before the support started?
It did. It was, yeah, because doors were 6:30 and Trace Amount wasn't on until 7:30, so it was a full hour, really. I have to say, though, there was a good soundtrack to bop along to whilst waiting. There were a lot of...
Oh, yeah, it was all your fucking Rockfit songs.
Lots of the classic Rockfit tracks, so I was bopping out a few moves in the corner while we were waiting. It passed the time, kept me warm, because it wasn't overly warm in there, I have to say.
Freezing, yeah.
It always helps, though, when there is a good boppy soundtrack between bands, isn't there?
Yeah, it does make it better.
Yeah, it was just kind of classic 90s / noughties metal mainly, wasn't it? But...
yeah, a lot of new metal.
Anywho, Trace Amount then came on time at 7:30.
Yeah.
I'd listened to some the day before, so I got a vague idea what to expect, but for some reason I thought it would be still a full band rather than just one person. Because you do sometimes get people who do their own, like Hellripper, for example. No offence. Yeah. Hellripper was my other example.
Yeah.
Completely solo, but full band.
Tours with a band.
For live, yeah. So I did expect more than one person to walk out, I have to say.
Yeah. really confused me because I'd seen him at, stood near the merch at some point and then waved to a few people and then kind of went back. I thought, oh, it must be somebody that, yeah,
Mm.
not knowing who Trace Mount was.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known, even though
Wouldn't have known.
I listened, but I didn't do a massive amount of research beforehand.
Well, I went into it completely blind, so I'd not actually listened to Trace Mount.
Okay.
I just thought I'd go into it and just see what it was like. And he came on, and it wasn't what I was expecting either. So I was expecting more of a band than like you said.
Mm.
And it was just one guy with some audio sampling stuff, a drum machine, and it reminded me very much, not necessarily, well, actually, the style of music in places, but it reminded me very much of Trent Reznor.
I thought that at times, yeah. I think vocally as well.
And the way that he held the mic and leaned into things was very Reznor.
Yeah, it is very industrial sound, wasn't it? Actually, the first thing that he did was switch off the red lights, wasn't it, when he came on? Because they'd got the lighting set up and
I can't remember.
some of the lights were red and he kind of said, kill the reds. And they still played. So he kind of started and then stopped and then got rid of the red light.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I forgot about that bit.
Yeah, and it was, I actually enjoyed it. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I like industrial music. I'm a big fan of industrial. I'd say it kind of veers more towards almost like a dance sort of stuff in places.
Yeah, there's definitely some like electronic dance beats in some of the tracks.
Yeah.
So you could have a bop to it if you wanted to.
But for somebody who's, he's completely unknown to me, he was unknown to you as well. And I'll be honest, it's not very often that happens.
Mm.
Like even with support bands, even the smaller support bands, we've either heard of them or we've listened to the stuff before. So we've got an idea of who it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to kind of walk in and not have any expectation.
Yeah, it's always difficult, isn't it? You never know where. It's a bit like, do you want to see the set list before the show?
Yeah.
Do you want to listen to the support band to know that you're going to like them, or do you want to just go in with nothing?
Just go blind and.
I mean, regardless, we'll always watch the support anyway, so it's not like we're going to listen to them to see if we're going to watch them, because we always will.
Yeah. And at this point, there's what? Maybe 40 or 50 people in?
Yeah, there's a few people in.
There was a few in. It wasn't busy. And yeah, so around maybe 50 people. And it was very self-deprecating as well.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, yeah.
Yeah, I think at one point between songs, he said, what was it? Thanks for...
enduring it or something?
Yeah,
like
thanks
that.
for enduring this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell yourself a bit better, man. You're doing fine.
Yeah, he seemed very appreciative for the people that were there watching him.
Yeah. And I think everybody in the crowd that watched him enjoyed it.
Yeah,
there was nobody... You know what it's like when you watch support bands and there's only about 50 people in? Everybody's just chatting away.
Yeah.
There didn't seem to be any of that.
No, I think because it was quite an intense sound as well, it probably would have been hard to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very loud. He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
His range is really good. And I'd happily watch Trace Mount again.
Yeah,
wherever he'd play. But I did enjoy the set.
Yeah. And just to note as well, the second to last track he dedicated to Nottingham Forest.
He did. You Reds.
So whether he does that in every city, we don't know. But if anyone went to see him in a different city, let us know if that's a thing. Or maybe he's just a Forest fan.
You never know.
Stranger things have happened.
We've got some famous ones.
Have you?
Mannix.
Oh, James Dean Bradfield. Yeah.
Lots.
Lots.
There's lots.
I feel like there's another obvious one that I can't remember.
Scolari, the Brazil manager, was a Forest fan.
Okay.
I think Mourinho was as well. Anyway, getting totally sidetracked.
Yeah, I enjoyed Trace Mount too. I think we can conclude with that, and yeah, go and give them a listen if you're curious about it.
Yeah, I think for anybody who likes industrial music, you'll be fine. If you're not into industrial music, it's probably not going to be for you.
No, but worth a try.
But still listen. And what I also liked is, he's signed to Greg Puciato's label.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an obvious reason why he's took him with him. And I suppose if it's just one guy with his sampling stuff and his drum machine.
It's going to be very light on luggage.
Yeah, very light on luggage. So that's going to be like another bonus. But I also like that he's kind of took a support along who he's obviously got some faith in him because he signed into his label for a start.
Exactly, yeah, that's true.
And the amount of streams he's had on Spotify is for a support for Greg Puciato is tiny.
Mm.
But it's like he's given him a chance to come and play in, like in Europe.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, and it kind of I think it's nice to see something like that's happened.
Yeah.
And somebody who doesn't have a massive following has been given a good opportunity to get known in other countries.
Yeah, and he took him on the Australia dates as well before
Yeah,
he came
before
to the
the
UK.
UK. Yeah,
I think it makes sense as well because it is a kind of not a dead similar sound, but you can imagine that fans of Greg's stuff
would like it.
and it would fit. So he would naturally pick up some fans as he has with us.
One other thing, most of the tracks he played were from his debut album, which came out 2 years ago, called Antibody Language. So give that a listen, and yeah, let us know what you think, because we enjoyed it.
On to the main event then, Greg Puciato. So if you're not familiar with Greg Puciato,
Why are you not?
is the first point. But if you genuinely are not,
Yeah,
you have probably heard of Dillinger Escape Plan.
yeah. And he was Dillinger's second lead singer, I believe. I think Dillinger had a original singer who left, and then Greg came in, and then the band got really big after that.
Yes, I'm sure most people remember them from the days of yore.
Yeah, and we've seen Dillinger before.
You have. There's a tale.
Yes.
We saw them at Leeds Festival in 2016.
Yeah.
And they played on the pit stage on what we like to refer to as Super Sunday.
Yeah.
Also known as Accidentally Very Drunk at Breakfast Time Sunday.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's fucking steaming.
Yeah. I think we've mentioned the day you nearly died on a steak sandwich before, so we won't go into that tale of the Sunday again. But after you nearly died on a steak sandwich, at some point later that evening, we saw Dillinger, who I don't think they headlined the pit.
No,
I think I want to say they were on before Mastodon, but I might be making that
They were
up.
late afternoon, weren't they?
Well, early evening, I think.
Well, yeah.
In my mind, it was getting dark.
I don't think it was.
Was it not? Anyway, main point of this tale is last time we saw Greg Puciato in Dillinger, someone insisted on eating candy floss whilst watching them.
I like candy floss. I'm a big child.
All I remember is you absolutely saying, I've got to go and get some candy floss. I want candy floss with Dillinger. And there's a photo somewhere with you with a mouthful of candy floss.
Yeah, I forgot it even existed.
With Dillinger in the background. There's a tale.
Yeah, so we'll upload that at some point.
What I remember from seeing Dillinger that day, they were very good.
Very good, yeah. Same like you. And Greg Puciato is also quite well known for his antics on stage, would you say?
Yeah, antics is a good word.
He's well known for doing absolutely crazy shit like hanging from ceilings. He'll just climb anything that can be climbed.
I believe he once did a poo on stage.
At Leeds Festival, I think that was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Lovely.
And yeah, that almost got Dillinger banned from the UK.
Yeah. Fortunately not.
Yeah, fortunately not. And yeah, he's had kind of like fights with people, throwing monitors at people.
Feisty one.
Yeah. But an excellent musician.
Yeah. And as well as Dillinger and his solo stuff is in various other bands.
Yeah, there's a lot of other bands he's in.
One of whom is Better Lovers, who are back in the UK later this summer at 2000 Trees. So if you see those dates and you're nearby, recommend going along. Anyway, I've distracted once again, as per usual. I think the first thing we need to mention actually is that he was late on stage.
Yes, very late.
10 whole minutes late.
Yeah, I don't like late bands.
No, especially when you've been standing around a lot.
And it's not, what I find weird is they didn't have to clear anything.
I know, that's the worst bit, wasn't it? It's not like they got to... Who was it we saw who had a whole massive organ thing to take off stage?
Oh, Jesus.
Can you remember?
Yeah.
Oh.
Was that Rock City?
No, it was Rescue Rooms.
Oh, Rescue Rooms. Who the hell would that have been?
I can see them doing it now, but I can't remember who it was. Anyway, yeah, they'd literally got to take off.
Was it the Support for Wagons?
No. We were right at the front, on the balcony, the front bit.
Okay.
That sticks out. Do you know where I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally above where
I know what you mean, yeah.
Because I remember we were looking down on them, taking it out.
Oh, shit, I do remember it now.
You were wearing your blue jumper.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Yeah.
So, yeah, there was nothing to take off stage. Everything was already set up. It's not like he'd got to do any hair or makeup.
Yeah, they literally just had to walk on.
But I'm sure there was a very good reason for it, so.
I suspect, considering what he was drinking on stage, it might have been more, let's consume a few more drinks
Maybe.
before we go on.
It could have been. It could have been anything. Anyway, eventually he rocks up at 20 to 9 and he treated us to a brand new track, Force Fed, to start things off. And I was trying to put the set list onto a playlist because I do that sometimes.
Okay.
After a gig, I'll just put that in. And yeah, it's not even on your streaming platforms yet, that one.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Hmm.
Played a good mix of stuff from different albums, some kind of classics that were in there. There was Do You Need Me to Remind You, which I'm a very big fan of.
Same.
Don't Want to Deal. That's a great track as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love both of those ones. And it was kind of like he did a really fast onslaught to begin with for about 5, 6 tracks, then slowed the pace down a little bit. And almost like a little interlude section in the middle. Or, yeah, around the middle, wasn't there?
Mm.
Had a little sit down on stage.
Yeah. The sound guy must have been a bit pissed at him.
Oh, yeah.
Because the on-stage monitors, he just kept kind of tipping over, putting them on the side, putting them on the back. And that, I think it was after about 4 or 5 songs, wasn't it? The sound guy came out and had to refeed it back in and then stand it back up again.
Yeah. But yeah, Deep Set is another one of my favourites. And that was really intense. It was probably eyeballing everyone's deep set eyes at that point.
Yeah, it was very intense.
Yeah, it was like he was determined to make eye contact with everyone. I think it was after that it started to slow down a little bit with Never Wanted That and A Pair of Questions.
Yeah.
Which are more kind of softer.
Very more laid back than the other stuff.
Yeah, and I think it was during one of those where he sat down on the monitor on the front of the stage.
I think that was during Never Wanted That.
Yeah, I think it was. And I've got a little clip of it, I think. Yeah, then after he kind of went back and picked the pace back up again with kind of Down When I'm Not.
Yeah, and the crowd were really getting in. Well, when I say getting involved, like everybody sang every word of every song.
Yeah.
And the age of the audience as well was above. Well, it was kind of like we were two of the younger people in there, I think.
Or about around the average.
Yeah.
I would say, because I imagine a lot of people who were there were kind of
Dillinger fans.
From their kind of height, as it were. Speaking of the crowd as well, he did spot some people who'd been at the first night before, which was Bristol the first night. We were the second on there, and there was one of the people who were in front of us in the queue kind of overheard them saying I think they were pretty much doing the whole tour.
Yeah, they were doing the whole tour, yeah.
Yeah, but he obviously spotted them at the front.
Yeah, and kind of made a comment about, I know you guys are coming to the next show, and you were with us last night. How many people are coming to more than one show? And it was kind of a little bit quiet. And he went, "Oh, just you then?
Yeah,
you're just here for tonight."
Yeah, maybe if I'd got nothing better to do, I'd have gone for a little jolly in Leeds on Sunday.
Yeah, if I could, if I got the time to follow a band around on tour, that'd be pretty awesome. But things are getting in the way, unfortunately.
Yeah. One for the future, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, it seemed to really pick up towards the end as well, and it got kind of more and more intense for the last few tracks.
Yeah, it got a lot faster.
Yeah, like Creator of God, which is another classic.
Mm.
And I think that should have been the last track before the encore, but due to the lateness, you kind of saw him make a little signal to say we're carrying on because there is a very strict deadline at Rescue Rooms when there's club night on.
Yeah, is it 10?
It's 10, yeah. So.
And if you're not done by 10, they will just switch everything off.
Yeah, so he kind of did that one and then rolled that straight into evacuation rather than taking the break that they normally would.
Yeah, but I mean, I know we said about him being 10 minutes late, but I think I've said it before. I prefer it when a band, like Tool have done it before, where they don't do an encore and just go, "This is the show. We're not going to fuck off for 15 minutes and wait for you to shout us back on because we're coming back on anyway. What's the point?"
Exactly. I'd get it maybe if a band needs to rehydrate or something or change a costume, perhaps. But aside from that,
yeah, just
crack on.
Just crack on. Get it done.
Get home 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Creator of God rolls straight into evacuation, which is probably my favourite track.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's a great track.
And the crowd are really up for it at that point. Definitely. That's when
the couple of pits started.
Possibly from Creator of God, a pit started then, but definitely during evacuation.
I noticed it was very sedate all night on that. And apart from one guy who was just constantly jumping.
Yeah.
All didn't stop moving all night. And then, yeah, a bit of a pit started. as we got later on. And one of our cardinal sins was committed. One of the things that we hate the most. Remember the gig goat?
I remember the gig
What's
goat.
got your gig goat?
Yeah.
The most rank, disgusting fart
God,
known to man.
I tried to block that out of my memory. Thank you for bringing that up. My nose feels polluted again.
You're
That was
welcome.
awful.
Yeah, whoever you are fucking disgusting.
Why do gig farts all smell the same as well?
I don't get that. Yeah, it's like what? It's one person. Is it just one person going to every gig we go to, and then just let's rip, and it's fucking vomit inducing?
I think that's definitely one of the things I don't miss when being on a balcony.
Yeah,
Because I was almost thinking, this is actually quite a good spot, and I wouldn't mind being here even if the balcony's open. And then you get something like that waft through your nose, and you're like, oh, get me away from the people.
yeah. Oh, it was bad.
Ugh, I was nearly sick in my own mouth.
It was quite funny as well. There were a few people trying to force their way through, particularly kind of around this stage, right towards the end. It's like, well, where are you going to go? And there was, you could obviously see that they could see people down the side and then this big gap. I'm like, oh, I'll go there. It's like, well, if there was a gap there, don't you think people would have gone into it?
Yeah, there's a barrier there.
There's a
That's why
barrier
there's a
there.
gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of people ended up in front of me, didn't they?
Yeah. And they'd got no better review because there was nowhere for them to go. So they'd just been looking at the back of somebody's head, whereas if you're a bit further back, you'd have had a better view.
Yeah. Anyway, distracted by
Anyway,
the fart.
yeah, distracted by farts and
Yeah, evacuation then went into the first of two covers. So the first one was Three Libras, Perfect Circle cover, which was a cappella.
yeah, didn't see that coming at all.
No.
And the thing is as well, Perfect Circle is not a band that perhaps everybody's familiar with. So anybody who doesn't know, Perfect Circle is a spin-off of Tool. Yeah, lead singer from Tool has a side project called Perfect Circle, who are also excellent. And yeah, it's just a strange choice, I think.
It was strange, but it worked really well. And it was just because it was a cappella, it was a real reminder of what an amazing voice Greg's got,
Yeah.
which we've not really mentioned actually, have we, as well?
How good he is vocally.
Yeah, insane. He's up there with one of the top vocalists, I think, of the era.
Yeah, again, like one of the best ranges. But one of his some of his kind of inspirations when he was younger were people like Mike Patton
Yeah.
from Faith No More, who is regarded as being one of the greatest vocalists of all time. And you can kind of see why that kind of reflects in Greg Puciato's work.
Yeah, definitely. But it just goes from the most guttural screams to like the most perfect high notes and everything in between.
And just crystal clear as well.
Yeah, it is. It's stuff like so pure and clear. And I think I'd forgotten how good it was live.
And then into the final track, which you showed me anyway, didn't you?
We did have a sneaky look at the set list.
Well, you kind of waved it in my face, hadn't
you? Do you want to look? I did not force you to look at it. No, I said, there it is. You don't have to look. You wouldn't be able to see it until I stopped. Anyway,
the final track was a cover of Them Bones by Alice in Chains, which is one of the greatest Alice in Chains songs ever written.
Yeah, and it's weird because Alice in Chains is one of those bands that I think in a similar way to Linkin Park, that if you're going to cover it, you've got to know that you can do it well.
Yes. I remember you saying that on the way back.
Yeah. Because Lane Staley is one of those, for me, that's regarded as one of the best vocalists of the time. So to be able to cover that and do it so well.
Yeah, I mean, how many gigs have you been to where somebody's tried to cover something, like you say, like that or like Linkin Park, and it's been absolute dog shit, and you can't, why would you do that? And then, I mean, Greg's obviously confident in his own ability, but perfect cover.
Yeah, and perfect ending, I think.
It was, yeah. It just finished just right.
Yeah, and the crowd were obviously very into that song as well, because it's a classic. And that was when he jumped in the crowd. Just as I was thinking, he's not been in the crowd tonight.
Yeah, oh God, that was a bit mental. Because I thought, is he going to? Is he not? And then he just kind of stepped onto the barrier from the stage.
Yeah.
And then obviously had a bit of a support. And I think you could see with security, obviously they would have been told about his reputation.
Yeah.
But I think they just kind of like panicked because from out of nowhere, he just went for it and just fucking dive bombed.
Yeah. I think my favourite thing was that he dive bombed and then he got back on the stage. Did it again.
Yeah. Just didn't stop. Yeah. And what was also good as well is that he kind of just checked that security are okay.
Yeah. After they pulled him back the second time.
Yeah. It took a bit of an effort to get him back in, didn't it? But yeah, everybody kind of like supported him. He was on his back at one point. It was kind of almost walking on people.
Yeah, I think I've got a bit of footage of that somewhere as well that I'll put out at some point.
Yeah. And I thought it was, I mean, audibly as well. One thing I was going to say is the difference between being on the balcony and on the floor. On the floor, the audio was a lot clearer.
Yeah, I mean, you never know whether it's just down to the band and the sound person at the time, whether it's that or your position that makes it different.
Yeah.
But it was definitely good audio.
It was really good audio. So, yeah, the sound guy definitely earned his money, but part of it could have been our position as well.
Yeah.
Because we were very close.
We'll have to stand there again another time. Compare.
I think the audio is generally better at that level because that's the level the speakers are at.
Yeah, whereas on the balcony, you've just got like a secondary speaker almost.
Yeah, it's on a feed, isn't it?
Rather than the full force of it.
Yeah.
I think we just need to give a shout out to Jeff as well on bass because he got a bit of shit off Greg throughout the night.
Oh, yeah, he did. I know something had been brewing backstage, but he was getting some abuse, wasn't he?
I think it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. But yeah, bless him. He took it well.
He did. So that was the end of the gig. And then coming out of the rescue rooms, as we mentioned, there was somebody that we'd never heard of on at Rock City. But the state of Rock City down the street after was fucking disgusting. I've never seen it that bad in my life.
It was like every person in the queue had dropped either a drinks bottle, can, or Mackey's wrapper on the street. It was disgusting. It was like festival floor.
It was a festival floor, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How long people had been there queuing for, God knows, but just the literal state they left it in.
Yeah, it was a real shithole. And then getting out the car park. So we got to the car fine. We're only a level up, which was fine. And
obviously our gig had finished just before there. So yeah. I wasn't even sure if that had already finished and cleared out, but obviously it hadn't.
Yeah, so they'd finished around a similar time. And because of the amount of people that were there clogging the road up, basically, they were just kind of stood in the road, weren't they?
Yeah, the problem was that if you've ever been to Rock City and you had to drive down that road after outside, people just kind of mill around the road. Taxis stop right outside as well, even though it's 2 lanes, then it blocks up 1 lane. And then we couldn't get out the car park because the road was backing up and people weren't letting you out. And then people were just walking straight in front of you.
Yeah, one guy walked straight into a car.
Yeah, walked in front of us and then just walked straight into a car once we'd managed to get onto the road. And the smell of weed was just, it was like being in Amsterdam.
It was, yeah. Like, I've been to Holland a few times and it was just thick with it, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was an interesting experience getting out the car park when whoever it was there.
But yeah, I think the thing about that is it's just the people that went to it were obviously just scumbags.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a good night at the gig.
Yeah.
Which is the important thing.
It was. And we got home eventually, had a cuppa and a crumpet in bed.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
Rock and roll. Yeah. Back home for, what time it was?
I was in bed before 11 with me.
Were you?
Yeah.
I thought it might have been after 11.
No, it's about 5 to 11.
Okay. So rock and roll on a Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Now we've got a whole 2 weeks to wait until our next gig. And obviously we'll be reviewing that as well. So
yeah, I mean, by the time this comes out, it'll be less than a week, actually.
It will, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. That'll be the 16th of March.
So get ready for that one next. So if you get a chance to see Better Lovers when they play at 2000 Trees, go and check them out.
And they've got a few dates either just before or just after.
Yeah. And of course, don't forget to give Trace Amount a listen. But more importantly, we are now on Patreon.
Is that more important?
I think it is.
Okay.
Well, it is to us.
Yeah, it's new to us.
Yes, we are now on Patreon. We've got a few things uploaded already, and there will be more coming soon. And you can find more about that on our Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, which is Ready to Mosh Cast, and also on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Ready to Mosh. So I think we're going to go and put some stuff from the gig up there. And don't forget, give us a like, share, follow, give us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to, and write a nice review, please, because that really, really helps with the algorithms.
Please. That'll be lovely.
And we'll be back soon with another episode.
Make it mosh moog.